My wife cheated and said I could sleep around and make it even. So I did, and then I found someone worth loving. I, 34M, was married to my now ex-wife Sophie, 32F, for almost 9 years. Together for 11. We were that couple people envied, at least on the surface. You know the kind. Lots of laughs at dinner parties, holding hands while walking the dog, inside jokes that made others roll their eyes, but in a loving way. People used to say we looked like we were straight out of rom-com, and for a long time I believed that, too. Maybe that's why it hit me as hard as it did when I realized Sophie wasn't the woman I thought she was. We met in college. I was a senior. She was a sophomore. She was funny, clever, always the brightest person in the room, without being condescending. We fell fast and hard. Moved in together a year later. Got married on a beach in California. Barefoot in the sand, close friends and family only. For the first few years, married life was easy. We communicated well, rarely fought, had regular date nights. We were each other's best friends. Life was good, intimate, fun. We traveled a lot, built careers, bought a house together, got a dog, talked about kids, but weren't in a rush. I honestly believe we were solid. I never thought she'd be the type to cheat. Hell, we even had deep conversations about how neither of us would ever tolerate infidelity. I remember distinctly one time we were watching a movie where the husband cheats, and she said, "If you ever did that to me, I'd leave without looking back. No second chances." I felt the same. I really did. About 2 years ago, things started to feel off. At first, it was small stuff. Sophie used to always put her phone on the counter or couch when we were home. Now it was practically glued to her side. She started getting really into fitness, joining a new gym across town, taking evening classes, coming home late, sometimes after I was already in bed. When I asked how the classes were going, she'd give vague answers. Good workout. Tiring. That's it. The intimacy dropped. 2. Conversations felt surface level. She started going out more with her work friends, people I never met. I tried not to be paranoid. Everyone's entitled to their own life, right? And Sophie was always independent. But something in my gut told me things weren't right. I started noticing other things. She took more care with her appearance than usual before nights out. She began leaving earlier for work and staying later. Sometimes she'd shower before bed, even though she usually did in the morning. Red flags everywhere. But I kept telling myself, no, not Sophie. But the hardest thing, the way she started looking at me, like I was invisible. One night, she came home late again. Said she had gone out with co-workers for drinks after a long day. She smelled like men's cologne, not just a faint trace, like she had been wrapped in it. I asked her casually, "New perfume?" She froze for a half second, just long enough. "Oh, yeah. I sprayed a sample at the store before I came home. Didn't like it though." That lie sat in my brain like a ticking time bomb. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone when she was asleep. Most apps were clear, almost too clear, like they'd been scrubbed. But in her photo album, buried in a hidden folder, I found screenshots of WhatsApp messages. A man's name I didn't recognize. Let's call him Ryan. "Ryan, wish I could stay in bed with you all day. You're so damn sexy. Sophie, last night was amazing. I miss your hands on me already." My heart dropped into my stomach. The air left the room. I read through as much as I could without waking her, and what I saw confirmed everything. She'd been sleeping with this guy for months, meeting him at hotels, sneaking off after work, telling him she loved the thrill. She never once mentioned me, not even as a problem or a barrier. It was like I didn't exist. I didn't sleep that night. I stared at the ceiling next to her, listening to her breathe peacefully, like everything was fine. I've never felt so hollow. I didn't confront her right away. I wish I could say I did, but I froze. I pretended everything was normal for 3 more days. Then on a Saturday morning, I asked her if we could talk. We sat in the living room. I remember the dog was curled up at her feet. I asked her straight out, "Are you cheating on me?" She blinked confused. "What? No." What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshots I'd sent to myself, and just held it out to her. Her face drained of all color. There was about 15 seconds of silence. Then she started sobbing. "I'm so sorry," she said over and over. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." I asked her if she loved him. She shook her head. "It wasn't like that. It was just physical. I was feeling lost, disconnected. I made a horrible mistake." I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just sat there, numb. When I finally spoke, I told her I wanted a divorce. That's when she really broke down. "No, please. Please don't throw this away. We can fix this. We can go to therapy. I'll cut him off. I already did. I haven't seen him in weeks. I was going to tell you, I swear." I told her she didn't have the right to ask me to stay. She said something that would change everything. "I'll do anything. Just please don't leave me. If you need to get even, I'll give you a pass. A free pass. You can sleep with whoever you want, and I won't say a word. I'll stay faithful. I'll wait until you can forgive me." I laughed, like a bitter, empty laugh. I thought it was the most pathetic, desperate thing I'd ever heard. But the way she said it, she was serious. It wasn't some trap or test. It was a proposal. I didn't agree that day. I told her I needed time, that I was going to move into a hotel for a while to think, and that's what I did. Over the next 2 weeks, Sophie texted me constantly, long messages, begging me to come home, offering everything: therapy, counseling, a full confession, even letting me read all her messages. Her tone changed from apologetic to pleading to almost manipulative. "You'll never find someone who loves you like I do. Please don't throw away everything we've built." I felt like I was going insane. Then one night, after too many drinks in a hotel bar, I texted her, "You really meant the free pass thing?" She replied instantly, "Yes, I meant it. I'll do anything." So I told her I'd come home, not because I forgave her, but because I wanted to see if she really meant what she said. She agreed to every condition I laid out: complete transparency, location sharing, access to her phone, therapy sessions, no contact with the affair partner. And yes, I would take the pass. I told her I didn't know what that even meant, but I was going to find out. And that's how we started living in some twisted version of open marriage. Except only I had the green light. That was the beginning of the end. Update. It's strange how quickly your life can lose all meaning. When I agreed to Sophie's deal, I told myself I wasn't doing it out of revenge. I told myself it was closure, a way to level the field, to burn away the pain with distraction. But in truth, I was hurt, deeply, humiliated. I felt like the fool in a marriage where everyone else might have seen the signs, but me. And no amount of her begging or crying could erase the fact that she desecrated something I believed in: us. So I said yes to the free pass, not because I wanted it, but because I wanted her to feel what I had felt: the betrayal, the shame, the knowing that your partner had been with someone else. I wanted her to look at me and wonder who I was with, where I was, whether I was laughing in bed with someone else the way she had done behind my back. If she could live with that, I figured maybe we were both monsters. If she couldn't, well, then maybe she'd learn what she destroyed. The first woman I was with after Sophie wasn't a stranger. Her name was Anna. We'd met once at a friend's birthday gathering. She was one of the new additions to the friend group, single, sharp-tongued, a bit wild. Nothing ever happened then, of course. But a few weeks after I returned home, I ran into her again at a pub. We had drinks. She asked why I seemed distant, and for some reason, I told her, not everything, but enough, that I was in a rough patch with my wife, that she had cheated, that we were experimenting with separation. I was careful not to make myself sound too broken. She looked at me, shrugged, and said, "Well, if you're technically free and you want to forget her for a night, let me help." And just like that, I slept with another woman for the first time in almost a decade. It was mechanical, a checklist, kissing, undressing, going through the motions. She was beautiful, but I felt nothing. I don't even think I really touched her with intent. I was just there, lying next to her afterward. I felt more hollow than before, like I'd cheated on myself. When I got home that night, Sophie was asleep in bed. I stood there in the doorway for a long time, watching her. She stirred and saw me, gave a sleepy smile, then turned over. No tears, no accusations, no jealousy, just acceptance. I didn't know what bothered me more, that she didn't care, or that she might have convinced herself this was fine. The weeks that followed were a blur of confusion. Sophie tried her best to act like the perfect wife. She cooked dinner more often, initiated conversations, set up counseling appointments, which I skipped more than I attended. She even got rid of clothes I once said I didn't like and asked me to help redecorate the guest room. Like rearranging furniture could cover the cracks in our foundation. Meanwhile, I slept with 3 more women. One from a dating app. One I met at a friend's wedding. One was a co-worker from another department, though we only hooked up once. Every time, I felt a little sicker. I'm not a player. I'm not someone who gets off on casual flings. I know a lot of people do, and no judgment. But for me, sex was always tied to something deeper. It felt wrong every time, like I was wearing someone else's skin. I remember once, I came home late and found Sophie in the kitchen, sipping wine. She looked up, saw the tiredness in my eyes, and asked softly, "Was she pretty?" I didn't answer. She nodded and poured another glass. Did it help? Still, I said nothing. She gave a bitter smile. Yeah, didn't think so. I think in her own way, she thought this was penance. That letting me sleep around made things equal. That as long as I didn't fall in love, it would somehow be okay. But she forgot one thing. She had already broken the bond. I was just walking through the wreckage. Things got worse between us, not in screaming fights, but in silence. The weight of unspoken things grew between us like mold. We'd go days barely speaking. The dog became the only source of comfort in that house. One night, as I was leaving for dinner with someone, Sophie stopped me at the door. She looked pale, like she hadn't slept in days. "I changed my mind," she said suddenly. "I don't want this anymore." I stared at her. "What?" "This. The free pass. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. I keep picturing you with them, laughing, touching. It's killing me." I almost laughed. The hypocrisy of it all. "You gave me this," I said coldly. "I know," she whispered. "I thought it would help. I thought it would make things fair. But it's not. It's just making everything worse." I paused. "So, what? Now you want to take it back?" "I want us to heal. Together. Please. Stop seeing other women. I've been faithful to you since you came back. I haven't talked to Ryan. I'm trying." I looked at her, really looked. And for the first time in months, I realized I didn't feel anything anymore. No love, no rage, just a faint, distant sadness, like seeing an old photo of a life that no longer exists. "I'll think about it," I said, and walked out the door. But that was the last time I went on a date with another woman. Around this time, something strange began happening. There was a woman at my job, Clara. We'd worked together on and off for about 2 years. She was in a different department, always kind, sharp, low drama. We occasionally had coffee, exchanged notes during meetings, but it was always professional. After a particularly rough morning, another silent fight with Sophie, another night sleeping on the couch, I ran into Clara in the break room. She asked how I was doing, and I don't know why, but I told her the truth. Maybe not the whole truth, not at first, but enough that she knew things weren't great. Instead of the awkward sympathy I expected, she just nodded and said, "Relationships are hard, but hurting alone makes it worse. If you ever want to talk, I'm around." That was it. No flirtation, no angle, just a lifeline. We started having coffee more regularly. At first it was about work. Then it drifted to music, books, philosophy, and life. And soon, I realized I was looking forward to those coffee breaks more than anything else in my day. She made me feel seen. Not pitted, not judged, not tolerated. Seen. And slowly, I started telling her more about the cheating, the deal, the emptiness I was drowning in. She never once gave me advice or took a moral high ground. She just listened, and every now and then, she'd say something that made me feel a little more sane. One afternoon, I asked her why she wasn't dating anyone. She smiled softly and said, "Waiting for someone who's ready." That night, I couldn't sleep, because I realized maybe I was finally ready. It took me weeks to gather the courage to tell Sophie the truth, that I wanted out. We were having dinner. Awkward, forced conversation, as always. I waited until we cleared the plates. "Sophie," I said, "I need to say something. Please don't interrupt until I finish." She nodded slowly, sensing the gravity of it. "I tried. I really did. I came home. I followed your rules. I slept with other people. I even tried to forgive you. But none of it worked. I don't love you anymore. And I can't pretend to fix something that's already dead. I want a divorce. A real one. Not a trial separation. Not therapy. A clean break." She stared at me for a long time, and then she did something I wasn't ready for. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She just whispered, "Is it her?" I said nothing. That was answer enough. The divorce was ugly, as expected. She tried to drag it out, bringing up the free pass as evidence of my moral failing. Even though it was her idea, she begged me to change my mind, then tried to guilt-trip me. She even messaged Claro once, a cold, veiled warning to stay away from married men. But eventually it was done. We split everything evenly. No kids. No real assets to fight over. Just memories we both wanted to forget. As of 3 months ago, I'm officially divorced. And yes, I'm now with Clara. It's still new. We're taking things slow. But for the first time in over a year, I wake up feeling something other than dread. I laugh again. I feel connection again. We talk for hours. She's kind in ways that don't feel performative. She asks about my day and actually listens. And no, we haven't said, "I love you," yet, but I know it's coming. And this time, I'll mean it when I say it back. Update. People don't talk enough about what happens after the chaos ends. They talk about the betrayal, the rage, the storm, but not the silence that comes when it's all over, when the papers are signed, when the house is divided, when the dust settles and you're standing there with your life in cardboard boxes and no one waiting at home. That silence is a strange kind of pain. Not sharp, just constant. Lingering. It follows you like a shadow into every room. That was the first feeling I had after the divorce was finalized. It wasn't freedom. It was numbness. For the first few weeks after it was all over, I didn't celebrate. No wild parties. No, I'm finally free. Drinks. No triumphant speech to my friends. I just went on with life. Work. Gym. Groceries. Laundry. Clara checked in often. She gave me space, too. She never pushed. Just the occasional text. "Thinking of you today. Hope you're breathing okay. Made too much pasta. Want to help me not waste it. Saw a book that reminded me of you. Dropped it off at your desk." I'd never had someone show care like that. Not smothering. Not needy. Just present. Safe. Thoughtful. We started spending more time together. Not dates, exactly. Just being around each other. A walk after work. A movie. Coffee on Saturday mornings. She gave me the space to grieve and heal without needing to be my Band-Aid. I think that's what made me fall for her in the end. She wasn't trying to fix me. She just let me be. Of course, life is a clean break. About 6 weeks after the divorce was final, I got an email from Sophie. Subject, just one conversation. My heart skipped when I saw her name. I hadn't heard from her since we walked out of the courthouse. I almost didn't open it, but I did. Sophie's email. "Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, and I understand that. I'm not trying to reopen wounds. I've been doing a lot of thinking. Therapy, journaling, ugly crying, the works. I want to say I'm sorry. Again, I know I said before, but I don't think I ever really understood what I did to you until I was alone. Until I realized I traded something real for something shallow. I wish I could undo everything, but I can't. I know that. I'm not asking to get back together. I just want to talk. For closure, if you're willing. If not, I'll leave you alone forever. Sophie, it took me 3 days to respond. I wrestled with myself. Part of me wanted to ignore it, let her sit in the consequences of her choices. But another part of me, the part that still carried old habits of empathy, thought, maybe she really is trying to heal. So I replied, one conversation, in public, no expectations. We met at a coffee shop we used to love. It was surreal. Seeing her again, her hair was shorter. She wore less makeup. She looked tired, older somehow, like life had been heavy lately. She gave a small, sad smile. "Hey," she said. "Hey." We sat. We ordered. She didn't touch her drink. Then she talked. And I listened. She told me about the day I left. How she cried so hard she threw up. How she thought sleeping with someone else would make her feel alive again. And how it only made her feel more alone. How she thought the free pass would make her feel less guilty, less like a villain, but it only made her realize how broken our marriage had become. "I wasn't trying to hurt you," she said. "I was trying to escape myself. But I ended up destroying the only good thing I had." I stayed quiet. She looked at me and asked the question I'd been dreading. "Are you in love with her? With Clara?" I didn't answer for a long time. Then I nodded. "Yes, I think I am." She nodded back, eyes wet, but no tears fell. "I hope you treat her better than I treated you." "I will." That was the end of it. We stood. No hug, no dramatic goodbye, just a nod, a quiet understanding that our story had truly ended. And this time, for good, the months that followed were peaceful. Not perfect, healing never is, but peaceful. I went to therapy. Not because Sophie asked me to this time, but because I wanted to. I had to unpack all of it. The betrayal, the numbness, the choices I made in the aftermath, the shame I carried for sleeping with women I didn't even like, the guilt of staying too long, the resentment of being turned into a version of myself I didn't recognize. Clara supported me, but never became my crutch. We had boundaries. We gave each other space. She never once asked for more than I could give. We traveled a little, hiked on weekends, cooked together, fell asleep, reading next to each other on the couch. It was simple, gentle, healing. And yes, eventually we said, "I love you." It came on a rainy night after a power outage, wrapped in blankets, with candles lit on the coffee table. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like a milestone. It felt like the most obvious thing in the world. People always ask, do you regret it? The marriage? The free pass? The women? The pain? Honestly, I don't know if regret is the right word. I wish things had been different. Yes. I wish Sophie had come to me with her fears before cheating. I wish I'd trusted my instincts sooner. I wish I hadn't tried to get even through sex, because all it did was damage my self-worth. But I also know that the person I am now, stronger, clearer, more self-aware, came out of fire forged by all of it. I learned what love isn't. I learned what respect looks like. I learned that forgiveness and reconciliation are not the same. And most importantly, I learned that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. Sophie and I were a beautiful lie for a long time. A story that made sense until it didn't. Clara? She's not a fairy tale. She's real. And that's better. Because real love doesn't hide in hotel rooms or silence or desperate bargains. Real love sits beside you in the dark and says, "I'm here. Take your time." And waits, not out of pity, but out of hope.